Here we go. Another series of the July Wano monthly tournament. And this time we're on the beautiful map of Vertigo. One of my favorite maps that we have currently in Wano, as it is a nice mix of open ground, a bit more open than most other maps than we have. And we also have an interesting matchup. This one was still played on the older patch, and so no Dragon 2s with 19 AP in here just yet. And what we got here is 8th Infantry versus 8th Infantry between lathans and Rabidsquirrel on this map. So that should be quite hot. Also 140 points M1 Abrams. Yes, this was still before Masena, so still one last look into the past before in the second game we will then switch over to the modern patch that we have with Masena. And yeah, before we go in, one more shout out to the upcoming event this Friday. A small 2v2 tournament with up to 8 teams, quick action, 3 hours of actions. If you want to have some Wano fun with a friend, come up and sign up for the Friday night Wano. And the other really cool part of this tournament, other than it being a nice 2v2 event, is that I will be joined by Damned and maybe 1 or 2 other Eugen team members for it. So we will have a bit of a Q&A, we will have a bit of banter with the Eugen devs themselves, and also have their perspective on the game a bit more explained. Yeah, understand what Damned might like the most about Wano, listen about his favorite units, and so on. And if you have any good questions for the Q&A part, let me know on the Discord, and or down below on YouTube, or in the Twitch chat right now. And you can find the sign up link down below as well on YouTube in the chat right now on Twitch. And yeah, let's go back into the hot action between Squirrel and lathans. Oh, that should be a fun event next Friday. Really looking forward to it. We had a great time with Nat at the charity event when the Eugen devs already joined us for the first time, together with Bandana and Vulcan and Yogdog. That was a lot of fun already. Looking forward to get into interacting with them a bit more on stream. Canoniac Panzers coming around, M1 Abrams still on their OP stats from back in the day. One more look into the past before we then, in game number 2, will have the new meta coming around. So, LRS zombies moving up. As Jäger Aufklärers will try to get into the town in the north. Another one trying to get up deep, up in the north as well. Stingers coming up from the rear. Kanonenjagd Panzers as support. It's cheap, little, relatively stealthy guys. Limited range, mediocre accuracy, but the good stealth, or the mediocre stealth, which is better than for other tanks, is really helpful. Better than the bad stealth for other tanks. So they can ambush enemy armored vehicles or normal vehicles relatively easy. They're also pretty decent as fire support. And unlike other tanks of their class category, they have actually smoke, which is somewhat helpful for disengaging with them as well. On the other side, we also see Kanonenjagd Panzers, nearly a mirrored setup here. The only big difference is that lathans is using a couple of Jäger Aufklärers, whilst Rabbit is using the LRS a bit more numerously. Bradley's also versus Tow2s. Tow2s also still in their 6 availability setup and for 80 points instead of only 3 availability for 85 points. Well, M1 coming down in here in the south. Mech rifles up here, as you can see, still with the old Dragon 2 with 16 penetration at 70 points, instead of the new at 75 points with 19 penetration, which currently are a bit of an issue, but hopefully will get adjusted relatively soon in some shape or form, as yeah, Eugen has realized it is an issue. Tow2 trying to hit the Kanonenjagd Panzer here, not gonna hit. Rabidsquirrel securing his +3 section on the map, so up for a +3 tick already, which lathans can't leave up for too long, so already first CV on the side of lathans as well, which then will get the tick for lathans going, as there's no more CVs. Oh no, there's a CV coming for Rabidsquirrel as well. Lathan's tick will not be for too long. Whilst the Toad 2 down here is slowing the push down that Lathans tried to get. Kanoniak Panzers all down already. And the M1 falling as well. Bradley, M1 Abrams and Toad 2 really slaughtering the push of Lathans here. Mech rifles have to disengage as well. This smoke is helping somewhat there. Mech rifles really under heavy fire. Getting slowly killed off here. M1 and iHawk coming in for Lathans for the south. +3 for Rabidsquirrel. Toad 2 up here at least should be stopping the M1 from now pushing over the other way around. Stingers coming up right there. Northern Town also in the hand of Rabidsquirrel so far. So not a good start here for Lathans into this game number 1. And I used the wrong folder there. Okay, now you also have the names up top. Mech rifles coming around. Stingers. Blackhawks bringing around some air rifles. Alpha Jets though on the hunt already. But gets shut down by a fighting falcon. And that Toad Cobra is also without protection himself. So 2 aircrafts going down here for Rabidsquirrel most likely. And the air rifles will survive. Don't get shut down by the Toad Cobra fast enough. So good thing there for Lathans. F-16 now out for Rabidsquirrel, but the one of Lathans should be able to disengage in time. And second one coming in will now try to hunt the one of Rabidsquirrel down here, but that one also is turning fast enough, I would say, to not be shut down by the Fighting Falcon of Lathans. Maybe the Sparrows can get shot, but both of them connecting would be really unlucky, as they only have 50% accuracy reduced by ECM, so rather close to 30% accuracy instead of the 50, as 30 ECMs on the Fighting Falcons on the F-16s is pretty good. So yeah, both sides not hitting with their Sparrows, and the jousting is over as both disengage here a bit further away. The one of Lathans stays around though. Not quite sure what its idea is up here. You don't want to fly it directly over all the enemy Stingers. Stingers with their 5 damage can 2-shot the Fighting Falcon still. But a couple of LRS of Lathans have come around now here as well. Moving through the forest. Could hunt down these Stingers actually. Would be pretty nice. Another M1 coming up on the side of the blue player as well. On the other side, a CV for the north for Rabidsquirrel. Should be able to get Rabidsquirrel back up onto the tick. Already pretty close to a 300 point advantage. Another CV for the south as well. Lathans in under pressure in that regard soon. More M1A1s actually this time coming around. So the big boys have entered the battlefield in this matchup. Outclassing the normal M1 by quite a bit. Having better range, having better accuracy on the move as well, and especially having 2 more penetration and 2 more armor. So being quite the beast with the extra range. It even has 4 more penetration basically on the same range. So really strong tank here in that matchup. Artillery coming in for Lathans is interesting. An M109. Let's see what that will try to focus fire. Maybe the iHawks in the rear. iHawks as Toad AA are somewhat susceptible to enemy artillery fire. And in that patch, also, Seed was really inefficient against iHawks, as they always needed to hit from the specific angle. I think that has been fixed now. Some interactions with Seed still seem to be a bit iffy, but mostly I feel like Seed, especially against iHawks and Vulcans, has been made more reliable, and the bug seems to be fixed when it comes to from which area they can be targeted and from which they can't be targeted. So that's quite nice. Mech Rifle Leader is holding the rear. OH scout for the north, so no sneaks happen there anymore. Arrow rifles though got through, so Rabidsquirrel has to invest into more units around here. to stop the sneaking units of lathans. Ooh, can the LRS here actually snipe the CV? That would be quite nice. Getting into a spot here as well. M1 getting already shot at, getting penetrated by the M1 of Rabidsquirrel. Needs to disengage. ATGM of the Bradley fizzles out. Gets a smoke screen up in time to not get hit further. Ooh, LRS are shooting here. But not with the law just yet. Okay, got one shot off with the law. M1's under fire by the mech rifle ATGM, I think. Not quite sure if the TOW 2s also were able to fire on it. Doesn't seem to be the case just yet. TOW 2 from the north though, coming around. Trying to hit the CV. Doesn't get the hit. LRS now caught out in the open. Bradley doing some decent damage. M1 though goes down. And Bradley now under fire by the TOW 2 as well. Has to disengage further. Smoke screen here of lathans actually feels like it's more a disadvantage than an advantage for lathans push. But gets another supply car. The CV has to disengage. So Rabidsquirrel at least only up on a +2. As the north is under complete control now by Rabidsquirrel. Slowly but surely pushed all the remaining forces of lathans out of the forest in the north. And lathans has to be content with these forests for now. And also is forced now to maybe take control over the south until a counter push can be made in the north. Smoke now coming in the rear as well. Whilst the M1 and the M1A1 are pushing forward. LRS around for Rabidsquirrel here in this building as well. Could maybe get a nice snipe with the law on top of the Bradley or so. Ooh, cluster F16. Not quite hitting. Hitting only one of the M1s and even that one not too hard. But at least will get out alive. Stinger's not able to finish it off. That looked way more dangerous than it actually was in the end. Like that looked like it was aligning pretty well onto the Bradley and the M1A1 as well. And if that would have been a triple kill, that would have been devastating for our player in blue here. It would have dealt a lot of damage to the push power of lathans. Meanwhile, two Fighting Falcons now hunting down the Cobra, but ITOs and Stingers are around. So the Fighting Falcons in a bit of a pickle, especially as the F16 joins the fight as well. Seem to get out for now, but okay. Rabidsquirrel's F16 can't connect with its Sparrows. And now flies over the Stingers, gets hit by one. Second one does miss. Third one does get the kill though. So in the end, air engagement somehow working out for lathans. Pretty lucky there, I think, versus the Eyehawks. But also a bit over-eager there by Rabidsquirrel on the follow-up. And the Stingers down here have reloaded. Stinger reload time by now is relatively short compared to previous patches. And they still have the 5 damage. Yes, they have lower accuracy, but you can't do something like that. The follow-up gets killed off here as well. They by now have a base reload time of 10 seconds instead of 20 seconds. So Stingers are way more dangerous versus massed amount of planes compared to their super snipe capabilities against single planes before, which is a bit reduced as they now only have 50% accuracy instead of, I think, 70% base accuracy that they had before, but they are still for sure the best man-pad out there. Meanwhile, aero rifles engaging Stingers of Rabidsquirrel over here. Mech rifles over here, engaging some Kanonjagd Panzers. And yes, even with 16 penetration, the Dragon 2 is dangerous in that matchup. Bradley helping out from the rear though, getting some damage in here. Jaegers trying their best as well. Air rifles seem to run into another mech rifle, and that should go well for the mech rifle. But the +2 is continuously taking here for Rabidsquirrel. Got the kill onto the M1 and the M1A1 here. Cluster plane helping out to finish them off earlier. So Lathan's force in the south is reduced, and the north is so heavily under the lockdown by Rabidsquirrel that ever coming back here seems to be highly unlikely. Like, that would really need a good effort and a lot of combined arms and good timing to try to get back into this position ever within the next 27 minutes. Can happen, but won't be easy at all. Ooh, Toe 2 though, getting a good connection in at least. The M1 over here, taking some damage. Rabidsquirrel not having an eye on it. Ooh, if that connects the second time, that is it for the M1. Doesn't do so just yet though. Reload is happening. Toe 2 flying once more. Rabidsquirrel still not watching here. Most likely watching an engagement in the south. And the M1 goes down. Good kill there for lathans. Down in the south, infantry engagement between aero rifles and Jaegers and mech rifles. One aero rifle got deep, got some kills with its law, but now gets overrun by engineers and an M1A1. And yes, lathans now has secured the south, but this is still not enough. Rabidsquirrel up by 768 points, and you need to get a tick somewhere. Either by deep pushing into this +3 zone here, or by somehow coming back in here. But first, you need to secure the southern zone, and that's what is happening right now. Stingers coming in numbers. A lot of Kanon Jagdpanzers, I guess, for securing and then pushing into the +3 zone here in the rear. Meanwhile, if you can fight yourself into the open here, we then also could hit the Eyehawks. The Eyehawks then not in a super safe position. Rabidsquirrel might have to be careful with that. If those get overrun by the Kanon Jagdpanzer, then the Air Force of lathans is free to do whatever they want, whatever they please, to deal damage to you. So Rabidsquirrel has to be careful. Artillery also helping out in the fight over here, stressing out Rabidsquirrel's infantry, making lathans infantry quite a bit more successful. Really showing you that artillery can do its part in these fights. Though it's... I'm not quite sure if it's really super worthwhile doing this, even though it has some effect at the moment, if this is really cost efficient in the long run. But these mech rifles for sure way less efficient than before, and the aero rifles without the stress are doing a good job. Mech rifles versus Jaeger in the forest here. Mortar fire keeps on coming. Bradley coming around from the rear. M1A1 helping out as well. Mech rifles not in range for the ATGM. Toe 2 though is coming up. Jaegers and engineers on the other side. Cobra getting hit by the Stinger. Stinger out of ammo though. Oh no, one more shot is left. Okay, that would be enough to finish off the Cobra, so the Cobra needs to be careful. This Stinger also on 3-star veterancy by now, as I think it came in at 2-star veterancy, but by now has enough kills to go up to 3-star veterancy. As kills can level up units in Warno as well, not just CVs next to them. It's a mix of the Steel Division and the Warno system, Wargame Red Dragon system in that regard. Alpha Jet gets the kill onto the plane, gets murdered by Eyehawks and Stingers afterwards though, and goes down. But the advantage stays in Rabidsquirrel's favor. And Toe 2 now trying to help out, trying to get a shot onto the supply truck. Will it connect? It seems like it. Yes, there we go. Toe 2 gets the kill. Important kill there for lathans, helping out, keeping these infantry units down. But there's quite a lot of them now moving forward. Meanwhile, artillery tries to snipe Eyehawks, but Eyehawks are moving. CV also still around. And now Rabidsquirrel is bringing in the counter battery with M109s of his own. North aero rifles on the way for some sneaky sneak, it seems. And some more infantry of lathans also moving through the forest in the north. Defensive position in here makes perfect sense. And by now the forces in the north getting close to a spot where with a good combined arms a push might be possible. M109 not really hitting anything. But the south seems to be under pretty good lockdown for lathans as well. Bradleys and an M1A1 coming in. A bit more infantry here down here might be worthwhile maybe. Toe 2 at the meantime getting a jeep there. Mech rifles trying to move forward. Eyehawk under fire. Not getting hit too well just yet though. As the points are keep staying the same right now for both players. Arrow rifles trying to sneak through. Rabidsquirrel has the scout plane here though, the scout helicopter. That should be able to spot the arrow rifles coming out. Mech rifles over here, trying to help out. Dealing good damage to the LRS. LRS seem to get overwhelmed in this. Lathans trying to push through the open. Mech rifles coming in though. And TOW2 in front of these M1 Abrams is pretty deadly as well. One of them going down. The other one not getting any good hits in. And the M1 needs to pop its smoke. Is popping it in the wrong direction actually, against the mech rifles, not the TOW2. But TOW2 at least not quite able to get the kill just yet. Will the M1 be able to disengage in time? Yes, it will be, but still losing one M1 Abrams here without getting any valuable kills is a big loss for Lathans. TOW2 not going down, and now an M1A1 reinforces the front line for Rabidsquirrel in the north. Stingers shoot down the Blackhawks in the north. That's 75 points lost. Blackhawk helicopters in general feel still relatively overpriced for what they offer you as transport options. Yes, they have some MGs, but they don't do too much, and transport helicopters at the moment also not quite feeling that effective compared to ground helicopters when it comes to their price efficiency. M1 Abrams versus M1A1. M1A1 gets the hit, M1 Abrams doesn't, and that is not looking hot for the M1 Abrams of Rabidsquirrel. Gets the smoke out though. Meanwhile, TOW2 trying to get more hits in. Eyehawk under fire by Rabidsquirrel's artillery this time. And the F-16 is coming in. Not getting hit just yet. Ooh, one stinger connects. Eyehawk doesn't though. Whilst the units over here are getting supplied. The non-Jagdpanzer is moving forward. Under fire by the M1A1 and the Bradley though. But the F-16s are flying around in the skies. And Lathans has entered the northern zone again. Brings in smoke artillery. Oh no, actually normal mortars. To help out. Has a CV supply truck as well. Keep these units under supply. Bradley helps pinning down the engineers. Once the mech rifles are engaging on top of them. Jaeger Aufklärers moving forward as well. Mech rifles versus Jaegers over here. Engineers under heavy fire. Stingers in the building using their M16 to try to defend themselves versus the mech rifle, but that obviously ain't the top way you want to use your Stingers. Meanwhile, tanks from the south tried to help out as well. But yeah, the M1A1 actually went down here once more. I guess the TOW2 did its job once more. Bit of a mistake here by Rabidsquirrel once more, losing 2 tanks by now in this forest, which is quite big. An M1 and an M1A1 right now would help out so much against the counter push of Lathans, which is slowly but surely coming up. But Rabidsquirrel gets a lot of infantry here now as well. A lot of Heimatschützen into this section of the map. Southern infantry formation of Rabidsquirrel stunned in the forest. It seems like Rabidsquirrel not quite able to get a counterattack going in the south right now. But the northern push still not finished for Lathans. Still has a lot of work cut out. TOW2 here under fire. Not going down so far yet though. And another ATGM is flying. Rabidsquirrel disengaging now though. Kanonjagdpanzer is around. Will hit the TOW2 of Lathans that only has 1 missile left. Could use one more supply truck here. Whilst the Kanonjagdpanzer and the M1 keep up the fire towards the north. Ranger under stun by now. And the mech rifles here could maybe disengage for a second to try to get resupplied by the supply helicopter. More aero rifles coming in. The one in the north though got cleared out. No sneaking action onto the CV in the rear here. And the stalemate is relatively real when it comes to flags. But the CV is slowly coming up for Lathans. Will move through the forward road though. I hope Lathans realizes that in time and can rectify and get it moving in a different path, as otherwise the mech rifles and the TOW2 could end this CV's whole career. F-16 get another kill. This time though, get hit hard by the Eyehawks. Both Eyehawks hitting with both their missiles. Quite lucky there for Rabidsquirrel. Quite unlucky for our player in blue. And more Stingers and Eyehawk hits here on the F-16s. F-111s. 3 planes going down there within no time for lathans. But CV at least enters and instantly gets killed by the mech rifle. Didn't get changed in its pathing, and that's really bad time now for lathans. Losing a CV and 3 planes within 20 seconds. And giving Rabidsquirrel a good advantage in points, or at least a good catch-up in points again, as I feel like before that, lathans was slightly ahead when it came to units on the map. Had a couple of good minutes here of trading. I really like the slow approach to the northern town, but by now there is enough reinforcements for Rabidsquirrel here to hold the line. And yeah, with the CV dying like this and all the tanks also getting slaughtered, lathans is under pressure again. Has still 16 minutes to fix the situation, but this won't be easy anymore. TOW2 coming around, trying to hit the supply truck over here. Will be able to get there though. Not quite getting the kill. Mech rifle over here. Will be able to get the kill here too. And I have to disagree there with you, Flicks, as unlike Two Lakes, deep pushes on this map are quite a bit more viable. Like getting into the +3 zones of your enemies in the rear is quite good, and then you can give up one of these 2 zones to your opponent if you can neutralize the Delta zone. And I think lathans thought about that for a while, but then chickened out of it and tried to go back for the northern push. And also, both of these zones are dead center, like both sides can play for both zones, which isn't quite the case on Two Lakes, which is the problem on Two Lakes. Like, both sides have a zone that they have the advantage in, so if you ever lose control of one of them, you never will be able to push the other one really well in Two Lakes. So, yeah, Two Lakes is a bit more of a stalemate map and a bit more streamlined in how you can approach it as well, and it could use another zone or 2, as 4 zones is a bit low on the low end for a 1v1 map, but 6 zones I think is quite nice spot. Like 5 to 7 zones is what you should aim for with these maps. And I don't think this map would profit from another zone in here. As I said, I feel like the zone layout for this map is pretty well done. Getting into here, for example, is worthwhile more than controlling the northern zone. So, and if you can take it over, then obviously even more so, as these rear zones are +3 zones. So point wise, this is also pretty nice. Mech rifles in the north, supply truck coming up, but lathans has been pushed back pretty hard. Artillery coming in from the rear, trying to get some kill onto the M109. Not quite getting the kill there though. Meanwhile, Cobras in masses coming up in the north, but Stingers still in position. Aero rifles versus and mech rifles versus one mech rifle of Rabidsquirrel. But one more unit here went down. I think it was a Bradley. Oh no, it was a supply truck. Oh yeah, right. That's pretty bad, as the supply truck could have been really helpful for this low hit point mech rifle. They still seem to get the win here. And Cobra gets pushed back by the Stingers, but the Cobras of lathans shouldn't be much more effective either, as there's still 3 Stingers in this northern sector of the map. And overcoming these with the Cobras won't be easy. CV trying to come up. Artillery also firing now into this forest. Getting some hits in. And yeah, getting the kill onto the mech rifle. Smoke coming up, but the northern position for lathans not looking too hot, and by now also enveloped by forces of Rabidsquirrels in the south. So it pushed down the memory lane here, pushed down this zone, down this highway towards the enemy spawn here into Delta. Won't happen either, I would say, as this is pretty secured now by Rabidsquirrel. And when A1 comes around and tries to do some job, but just seems to be too much of a disadvantage by now for lathans. Really, the loss of the CV in the north and the loss of the plains without achieving too much was pretty bad. And the engagements over here, also one single toe-to, taking out a lot of forces of lathans there as well. If a couple more tanks would have been able to help out from here for the rest of the game, this would be obviously a different game as well. CV now will try to sneak in here. That would at least give a +2, but a +2 is only 80 points per minute. So that's still not that much. And the CV staying alive in here forever is a highly unlikely prospect. In my eyes as well. Alpha Jet on the hunt for some helicopters. Stingers are around. One hits, the other one misses. But the Alpha Jet might be around for long enough so that the Stingers can get their reload through. We'll try to get home now, but most likely we'll fly over the Stingers again, and 2 Stingers? Maybe not. No, it's not taking the route over the Stingers, okay. Alpha Jet will stay alive. No F-16s around anymore. Lathans lost them to the AA of his opponent. So, good kill there by Rabidsquirrel. Not even losing his Alpha Jet for killing off even more expensive Cobra there. So even if the trade would have had happened, it would have been fine. But obviously getting a kill without losing anything, even better. Cobras in the rear. Meanwhile, Jäger Aufklärers and Mech Rifles trying to push in here. But there's just so many entrenched forces here for Rabidsquirrel. Similar in the south, a lot of M1A1s and M1s coming around here as well. Keeping the infantry at bay. Pushing back the Stingers. Is there a CV on the way in the south? No. Rabidsquirrel completely focusing on defensive play at the moment, which is fine. Rabidsquirrel has the advantage from the early game, so no need to push too hard anywhere else. That's the Mech Rifles and the Jäger Aufklärers keep on fighting over here. 10 minutes left, Humvees under fire. LRS could use some repairing. F-104 coming in, gets a bombing run off, but most likely will bite the dust. Yeah, one of the 3 Eyehawks finally gets the final hit, gets the kill. Bombing run also not super impactful. And there's just not enough to follow this up for Lathans in the north. Is on a +2 right now, but at the same time the south is collapsing. There's little left here. The only infantry is a Mech Rifle. Stingers under fire as well. Kanonjak Panzer won't be able to hold the line for too long. But there's no reinforcements on the way whatsoever. So, as long as Rabidsquirrel finally gets the CV up here, and he even has a CV on the map that could fill that role, the tick should be stopped and then maybe even reverted into a tick for Rabidsquirrel in the south. Alpha Jets coming in to hunt down some helicopters, I guess. Yes, they do. But I don't quite see the Snowden push working out. M1A1 trying to help out from the rear. Mech Rifles trying to do their job as well, but there's just not that much infantry for Lathans. Whilst more and more Jägers coming in here for Rabidsquirrel as well. Fighting Falcon, hunting down the Alpha Jets. Eyehawks at least out of ammo, so they won't do the finishing blow. Another Eyehawk coming up, more supply trucks as well. Actually, 2 more Eyehawks coming up. Whilst the Raven comes in on the other side. Not that much AA around on the map. Only one is in the north, an Eyehawk there. And some Stingers, but they don't get hit by the Raven. Raven goes down. As I said, still played on the old patch. It couldn't find the Eyehawk in the north. A bit sad there, but Rabidsquirrel still in a good spot. Does neutralize the south by pushing back the CV. And should be able to get a CV in here by himself. Cluster Bomber getting the kill onto the CV. No more tick for Lathans. In the north, M1A1 holding the line. More Jägers on the way. Another shutdown onto a plane here. And supply trucks on the way for the Eyehawks. So more AA should be coming out in the future. F-16 also on the hunt. I'm not quite sure for what. What are you hunting? Okay, you're just flying around for now. Not anything specific getting hit. And running a bit too deep here. Stingers get the kill already. Not a great move there by Rabidsquirrel either. A bit overeager, but the position stays the same. Rabidsquirrel needs something more here. Lathans needs something more here. But I don't quite see that happening in 7 minutes. 500 points down. Even with a +2 by now, it would be a draw. But obviously that would be better than nothing. As only 80 points would be achieved. And Blue just doesn't have the forces left to get a deep push going here, I would say. Unless the two M1A1s in the north somehow overwhelm the whole position and somehow are able to push deep. But there's just too much fluff in the way. Killing off all these units is highly unlikely. Mech Rifles under fire. Jäger Aufklärers and Mech Rifles pushing in deep. TOW2 under fire here as well. And yeah, it was a good game, but I think it's getting close to being over here now. TOW2 trying to get the kill. CV also now on the way to the south. And once that is in, and Rabidsquirrel gets a bit more ticks, then the way back here is even harder. Lathans brings in CV to the south here as well. So I guess it will be neutralized for both players. As this is on the way. M1's coming up in the north for the counter push onto the CV. And Lathans is pretty bled out on infantry in front. So I feel like this push should work out. Rangers are around with 84s and mech rifles as well, so the M1s have to be a bit careful. But even the Eagers on their own could be able to get the kill there. Whilst Rabidsquirrel for now has the control of the south, has the +2. And Mud on the way. But a lot of infantry down here as well, if Rabidsquirrel would want to push. But doesn't need to. Jaegers approaching the CV down here. That is disengaging, it looks like. No, it's not. The rest of the units were falling back a bit. M1 getting a bit close. Rangers should be able to get the kill there, but CV goes down in the north, and that is another +2 for Rabidsquirrel. Mech Rifles at least get the kill from the side with the dragons. But down in the south, Cluster Bomber gets the kill as well, and that's the +4. And +4 right now, with no CVs on the map to contest that within the next 44 seconds, as means that there will be a lot more ticks for Rabidsquirrel. Then there's another minute till these CVs arrive at the front line, in another minute and a half. So that means only at the 2.5 minutes left mark, the CVs will arrive at the front line again. And this is over. You don't get that many points within that amount of time. So Rabidsquirrel will take map number 1 here in this interesting mirror match on Vertigo. Nice show of skill on both sides. Cool ideas, but in the end Rabidsquirrel's securing of the north in the beginning of the game pays off. And the first push of Lathans just was not good enough. And then the follow-up push did do some damage, did take some ground, but not the ground that was needed to compensate for the early losses. As the first push here that with the Kanon Jagdpanzers and the M1 was clapped pretty hard. And yeah, Delta was kinda needed, but never got captured. Cluster Bomber is on the way. 3 minute 36. But the +4 is just way too good. Even with a +6 now, Lathans wouldn't really come back. Eyehawks everywhere. F-16 clusters. Get a good bombing run off, but nothing to follow it up with really. Only an M1. And doesn't even get the CV killed. CV still alive. So the +4 continues. Mech Rifles under fire. CV on the way, as I said. But still will need a couple of seconds to arrive. No CV up for the north. Another minute comes in. But this game is pretty much over. Like, even if all CVs would die right now, Lathans wouldn't come back. And Lathans accepts that fate as well. In the end, Rabidsquirrel with a pretty consistent lead here in game number 1. 8,700 to 5,500 kills. Good job by Rabidsquirrel there. And Yeah, interesting, nice plays from both sides. Nice mirror match. Really good skill matchup, but not quite good enough by lathans here in game 1. So let's see if he can bring it around in game number 2. Maybe with a better start. Maybe contesting the town is more important than trying to win the open ground in the south. Or maybe we will see a deep push like we have seen from Ski before. That would be quite interesting. And I hope to see you all there in 3 minutes with game number 2. So here we return to game number 2. Rabidsquirrel being up 1-0, and now we are on the new patch. And we are in here with 2 different divisions. Rabidsquirrel, this time from the right, lathans from the left. And the divisions we got are the 2nd Panzer Grenadier for lathans, and the 39th Guard Strelkovy for Rabidsquirrel, which should be interesting. Both of these divisions not having the Dragon 2. I guess the 2 top Dragon 2 divisions got banned in this matchup, I would expect. That being 8th Infantry and 82nd Airborne. So what we have left in here is a pretty nice matchup as well, though. Leopards being nerfed. On the other side, T-62s being buffed means that the tank matchup should be pretty close. Also, Motor Strelkies are somewhat competitive as well. Vapiras have been always good, still good now. So, could be an interesting matchup. 39th, one disadvantage though, is the lack of seed, which against the Gepards and the Eyehawks can be pretty brutal. So we'll see how that will be handled. We have Osas on the other side. Infantry-wise, they should be somewhat even, though 2nd Panzer Grenadier has their Fallschirmjägers, which can be nasty. 6 Fallschirmjägers on the battlefield here right now. And they can deal a good amount of damage with their forward deployment. On the other side, we only have Kransers and BRM1s for the recon, which can do a solid job at fighting as well, but obviously the Fallschirmjägers will be there first. So most likely, lathans this time having the advantage in the southern town compared to last game. A relatively small amount of forces in general here on the side of lathans, as more expensive AA pieces. Leopard is now costing 80 points, so not that cheap. Fallschirmjäger also not that cheap coming around. Okay, a couple of heroes were forgotten here, it seems. Now brought in for the southern section. Milan 2, trying to help out around here as well. Got slightly more expensive as well. So on the other side, we have quite a lot of forces for the south. Motostrelki Medis, Iglas, CV already. No CV on the side once more for lathans, just like last game. But this time it's actually 2 CVs for Rabidsquirrel. So we'll get a +6 here at the beginning of the game. And okay, we see some CVs coming in for lathans now as well. Seem to have kept the money around for maybe a fighter against enemy AHGs, but that's not happening. So now 2 CVs also being bought for lathans to mirror the +6 of Rabidsquirrel and stop the take. Fallschirmjägers got into a good position, but Kransers at least got to the edge of it as well. Iglas coming up too. Fallschirmjägers, though, now engaging the Kransers in the open. Not good for the Kransers, as there's no follow-up here just yet. T-62 is now 75 points. Cheaper than its counterpart in the Leopard. Has better frontal armor, has slightly better penetration, but pays for it with accuracy and rate of fire. The Leopard 1-in-1 is slightly more accurate, and also especially has 3 rounds per minute more, which is quite key. Su-25 coming around, gets killed off by the Eyehawk Gepard combo, not surviving this engagement. Kransers being killed off here a bit as well. But Rabidsquirrel with the double CV start already up once more to 237 points. So having an early game advantage in that regard once more. T-62s now engaging the Fallschirmjägers together with a lot of Motostrelki Medis. MTLBs getting killed off. Motostrelkis trying their best. Fallschirmjägers in buildings. Really survivable. Currently a bit of an issue. Getting into buildings really important at the beginning of games. as infantry in buildings is so tanky. T62 moving around here. Saperi moving in the south, whilst Feldjägers will try to buff up the defenses here for lathans. T62 versus Leopard 1A1 should be a really interesting matchup. 7 versus 10 frontal armor and 15 versus 16 penetration. But really the rate of fire and the accuracy difference also pretty important. Motorstrelky now aiming with the Medis, getting it off onto the Iltis. But we'll still have 3 more around for the Leopard, which is super helpful here as well. Leo's smoking and retreating. Medis Motorstrelky from over here, not quite hitting. Feldjägers taking some good damage, not going down though. Well, it's the Motorstrelkies try to get another Medis out there. T62 smoking and disengaging now. That's the Grancers get overrun. They don't have any AT. Motorstrelkies also pinned down, not getting any kills there. Getting overrun by the Feldjägers and the Fallschirmjägers. Yusa in the rear for some AA, helping out with the Iglas. Rapira doing its best to help out with its HE shells against the Fallschirmjägers in the building. T62 sitting behind the smoke. Might want to disengage even further though. Well, the Rapira is around here now. Ooh, Osa is in the forest, but the Saperis try to cross through it. Mi-24 rocket is up here with Cocons. That is super dangerous for the Leopards. Rapira also really dangerous there. Fallschirmjägers going down. One T62 bites the dust though. Second one gets the kill onto a Leo. Another Leo gets shot at by a ATGM. Leo 1 versus T62 over here. Interesting. T62 reloads a slight bit faster. Gets the kill. And in general, a good trade there for Rabidsquirrel, I would say. Mi-24 also really helpful back here. Gepard on the way on the hunt for it though. Will come around from the rear. Will get it shot off. Onto the Mi-24. Mi-24 forced to push and to fall back. But on the other side, Jäger Aufklärers are coming in. Both sides not having a CV in the center zones just yet. So no tick at the moment. Meanwhile, Gina coming in with some HE bombs on top of Rabidsquirrel's infantry in the building. Now costs 85 points though. Not as cheap as before anymore. Gets shut down. Drops down to the floor. Bombs not doing too much. Saperi RPO coming in as well. T62 will get repaired. Rapira trying to help out from the rear here in the north as well. Panzerjägers engaging the Saperis. A lot of Saperis getting into buildings. Feldjägers getting pushed back. Panzerjägers have to disengage as well. And so far, really interesting fight here. A lot of back and forth. Completely focused down here. No action up there in the north whatsoever. But both sides trading blow for blow. With the slightly better outcome so far, I would say, for Rabidsquirrel. But the Leo 1A1 starting to get some kills here. BTR might go down soon as well. Ooh, Mi-24 sees it though. Rapira gets a shot off as well. Leo 1A1 falls as well. No tanks in the front area at the moment. Only a Mi-48 in the rear. Leo 2A3 though on the way. The second Panzer Grenadier has been nerfed in the availability of Leos. They only get 1 card of them by now. So that's also why we see them most likely with reduced veterancy here coming in for lathans. Because they want to have 4 of them. And yeah, Leo rolling forward. Don't get as many of the heavy tanks anymore as second Panzer Grenadiers. Instead you get 1 more card of Leo 1A1s, so that they are a bit more different to their tank division counterpart in the 5th Panzer Division, which has more Leo 2A3s but less lighter Leo 1A1 A1. TADBV on the hunt for Rabidsquirrel. Rapira trying to deal with the Martyrs. Martyrs faster though. Pusa helping out with the infantry as well. TADB is around. MiG-23 with clusters coming in as well. A lot of AA fire coming down on it though. And it goes down to the Eyehawks and the Gepards. Its HE bombs also not having too much effect. The ADBV not in a perfect spot. CV now coming up for Rabidsquirrel, taking over control over the north. So Rabidsquirrel once more on the take. But the last couple of minutes, solid engagement for lathans down here in the south now again. After losing the tanks in the first engagement, Leo 2A3 now is around. So TADBV is not the heaviest boy around. Now with the autoloader and so on, a pretty decent tank as well. Also got a bit cheaper. But Leo 2A3 outclasses it by a good bit. But both in armor and especially in accuracy. 15% extra accuracy when static. And 2 more frontal armor, 1 more penetration. Helping out quite a lot. It's a Perry Apio. Trying to move through the buildings though. Trying to win town for our player in red. Also big thanks to Eugen, by the way, by finally fixing the red and blue color issues for NATO and Pact. That NATO finally is blue in replace and Pact is red is a great fix with the previous patch, I think, for Masana. But it's good that it finally has changed. M48, Milan's coming around, trying to hit the T62 here with the ATGMs. Milan's trying to get the kill there. T62 got stressed out, has now really low rate of fire. Is trying to shoot back onto the M48, not hitting, gets hit by another Milan though, and is forced to fall back. More T62 M1s in the rear. TADBV trying to help out, gets a good hit onto the M48 here. T62s meanwhile retreating over here. TADBV doing a good job, having quite a bit higher rate of fire than the T62s and not getting shot by anything. Rapira helping out as well. Leo 2A3 now rotating up here now as well. Milan still getting some good hits in, and the Leo 2A3 is trying to join the fight, whilst the CV comes in for lathans as well, and another Leopard 2A3. SU-25 not able to come around in the south, quite a bit cheaper by now, but still doesn't help you if you don't get them off, because the enemy AA is too good. More Leo 1A1s coming in here as well. Heavy tank fest, and it's currently going Lathan's way, I would say. ADBV versus Leo 2A3 though, interesting fight. But the ATGMs are helping out, and the Leo 2A3 will win in the end. And the T62s versus the Leo 2A3, not a great matchup here, especially not when they're stressed out. But even without the stress, they don't do much against the Leo 2A3, whilst they basically get killed off in 1 or 2 shots by the Leo 2A3 itself. Saperis trying to engage over here versus the infantry of Lathans. More and more Motostalky Medis coming in. Rabidsquirrel has the point advantage, but Lathans is getting the victories currently once more down here. Though the back and forth is still strong and nothing has been lost here for Rabidsquirrel. Still has a lot of chances to come back here, our player with the Soviet forces. Pioneer Flamethrower goes down. Eager Aufklärer under heavy fire here as well. Leo 2A3 tries to help out from the rear. But the infantry here of Rabidsquirrel does a decent job, at least forcing some of the forces of Lathans to retreat. SU-25 cluster once more coming in, but I don't understand that idea anymore. You already lost so many planes here. Okay, clusters will drop. Will they get any valuable kills? Nope, they won't. They won't even kill the Gepard. Leo 2A3s will survive. Not a worthwhile run here by Rabidsquirrel. And you kind of need the artillery. Like, yes, artillery currently somewhat unreliable, but if you want to use your Su-25, you need artillery in this matchup to try to deal with the Eyehawks. Without that, you are in a pickle. Meanwhile, Motostrelky's coming in. MTLB Snub coming in as well, with some supplies for the front line. Leopard 2A3 is coming in here as well. We'll go to the south. 1, 2, 3, 4 Leos on the battlefield. Leo 2A3s. More pioneers coming in as well. And a CV coming up for the north to try to contest this and bring Lathans up in ticks, which would be a +2 tick, and with that 80 points per minute. Okay. +2 is on. Lathans gets it going. First couple of points on the scoreboard. Really important here. As the advantage that Rabidsquirrel got once more in the beginning of this game, number 2, was a nice pillow to rest upon. But okay, now also getting the CV in the south. Okay, Lathan's not getting a lot of the take there. So both sides contesting both zones. Interesting. Not much else happening in the north still, other than both sides having a CV in there now. The focus still seems to be the south. Rabidsquirrel has a mortar, but nothing bigger than that. No D20 or D30 artillery pieces, and also no Eurogun, which I feel like could be helpful on this map. Euroguns hitting this forest or hitting these buildings can do their job. Euroguns in general, not the only MLRS, the only rocket launcher I would say that is worthwhile to bring around from time to time, because it actually has some decent damage per hit and is firing somewhat quick enough as well to get its big rockets on target, as it doesn't have many rockets, but it has big rockets. So Eurogun, if you ever want to use a rocket launcher at the moment, that one is the one. And the D20s also can help against the Eyehawks especially, but also maybe trying to kill off some Milan 2s or so. But it's not happening right now. Meanwhile, from the other side, what is the artillery we see here? It's a 155mm Feldhaubitze, so that is interesting. Shooting at the wrong target though. These snubs already out of ammo, or out of supply, so not really worthwhile killing here. Bit of ammo waste on the side of Lathans there. Jägeraufklärer running into good defense of Rabidsquirrel, going down there. But both sides are reinforcing more and more into this. Stalemate is still on though. More Rapiras coming around. Question is, how does Lathans plan on killing this? In the north, recon helicopter goes too deep. Flies over AA, gets shredded by the Zwillings. Artillery coming down in the south. MiG-33 trying to kill off the Iltis leader, as that was spotted. Bombs land. Bombs get the kill. Not quite sure if it was worth it wasting the MiG-23 though. Should have also turned to the north. Most likely will have still gotten hit by the Eyehawk. And, I mean, Rabidsquirrel back to a +2 here, which is quite nice. CV not coming up directly again here for our player in blue. Rather, bringing in some Panzer Grenadiers and a Leo 1A5. And 2 artillery pieces on the road, now shooting from afar. Down here, big infantry push, a lot of pioneers. Surprised to see pioneers. As I said, currently TNT not really worthwhile. Leo 1A1s trying to help out against the Saperi RPOs. While Jägeraufklärers and Sicherungs moving in the south. Good hits around here. Motostrelki getting hit. Milan trying to come around. BTR getting killed off. Milan from over here also in a decent spot. Motostrelki versus Jägeraufklärers. Leo 2A3 moving forward. Artillery on the firing here into the buildings, doing some decent damage. That's what I meant. Artillery can do its job if it is on target. Some Motostrelkis here getting killed off. Going up here, yeah, dealt light damage. Helped out the Leo 1A1s to finish off the infantry that got kicked out of the building after that building was destroyed. Another artillery barrage coming in. Not being on target though. And if it is not on target, it should at least deal stress damage. Like, yeah, it needs to be slightly more accurate, but especially it needs to deal more stress damage, and it currently doesn't do any if it doesn't land directly on target, which for artillery is pretty stupid. BTR from over here, hitting the Jägeraufklärers, hitting the Sicherungs. And 105mm keeps on firing to the rear. Smoke coming up. Lathans setting up a push. Rabidsquirrel currently still on the +2. No new CV being caught for the north. Rabidsquirrel really going ahead here now. So the push we get down in the south here kinda needs to work eventually. SU-25s though, coming in, getting some nice hits, but once more, not really worthwhile in the end, as the AA of lathans is just murdering one SU after another. I really don't like the airplay of Rabidsquirrel in this game. If you want to enable the SU-25, you have to do more for it. Otherwise the Ihawks just keep murdering you. And yes, that is a bit tough without siege planes, but that's what this division gives you its artillery tab for. Or otherwise just use different tools. Use helicopters. Try to use artillery directly maybe. Or use your BMP-3 plus infantry push. We seem to have something like this right here, right now. BMP-3s and T-62M1s moving forward. +2 for Rabidsquirrel. Whilst Lathans is bringing in Leo 1A5s. T-62M1s hitting the Pioneers. Hitting them pretty well. They're going down in numbers. 62 doing a good job here. ATGMs flying around as well onto the Leo 1A1s. And the +2 for Rabidsquirrel continues. Feldjäger versus Motostrelkis coming around. Meanwhile, a lot of cheap light tanks in the south. AT plane trying to come around. M48 under damage. Rancer here could fall relatively quickly as well though. Me-24 having no ATGMs left. Only one more rocket. So can't do too much against these tanks as well. And the tanks are coming in for a hot flank. I thought they might go even deeper. Tried to go for the kill here, but no. Go on for forces around here. Not sure if that's too clever, as there's a lot of forces in here. Tornado trying to hunt down another Su-25. And it seems like it might work. Yes, there we go. Not sure if the Tornado or the Ihawk that did it. Maybe both. But this Su-25 for sure went down. But so does the Tornado. Iglas plus Priusas do the job. And M48s under heavy fire here by Motostrelkis and Motostrelki Medis. And the BMP-3s. So M48s in general not super efficient here. Going down one by one. And the Leos on their own also don't seem to be the solution. More infantry would be needed to fully get the push back here. Leos pushing in. A lot of Motostrelki BMPs though. This doesn't look too hot. Leos getting slaughtered here. BMP-3 and T-62 helping out. Oh my god, that was a lot of Leos going down. And now this zone, from one moment to another, looks completely empty. That push of Lathans getting completely fizzled out. And there's next to nothing left here. This is rough. This is really rough for our player in blue. Metzwerkwaffe coming in, getting at least a good hit there. Will get killed off. Priusas and AA, Osas and the Iglas too good there to let something like that just fly over. But Rabidsquirrel in a commanding position once more when it comes to points. At least gets stopped now. CV gets in the north again for Lathans, but the 914 points advantage is a big one. Still 18 minutes to do something about it here for Lathans. But currently the position of Rabidsquirrel in the south especially looks better. North, relatively silent still. Maybe slight advantage for Lathans, but has to press that pretty hard to make this decisive in this game. Panzer Grenadiers with Martyrs coming up. What is this? Another Gepard? Yes, another Gepard. And another Paltrumeager coming around. Okay. Leopard 2A3 coming in here too. And that one is looking good. Where will this go? T-62s chilling around here. Leo rolling forward. Joining a Leo 1A5 up here. There are only 2 tanks on the blue side right now on the battlefield. Facing up against quite a lot of Rapiras and 4 T-62M1s. Meanwhile, more and more BMP-3s coming in as well. BMP-3s super capable. good range on their long range HE, dealing decent damage with this as well. One of the few IFVs at the moment that actually are solid against infantry in the speed they kill off. And the ATGM on them is relatively low accuracy, but good range, decent speed, and decent penetration as well, especially against Leo 1s. This can be quite dangerous as well. On the other side, Skimithars coming in. 105mm, haven't been shooting for a while. Not too active, and the northern situation still pretty stalemate. Both sides chilling out. Saperi RPO trying to move in. T62 trying to help out as well. 16 minutes to go. Well, it's the Marder M183 trying to get some hits onto the T62. Getting some good hits in here. T62 will disengage. Marder gets hit hard as well though. So we'll have to disengage as well. ATGM trying to come around, trying to get the kill from the BMP3. More Fallschirmjägers coming in. 914 points on the bank for Rabidsquirrel is a really comfortable cushion. Allows for quite a bit of mistake in the long run when it comes to points, but obviously you rather just want to finish off your opponent. Fallschirmjäger Milan here though in a good spot, hits the BMP3, gets the kill. BMP3 is slightly cheaper now again, but not something you just want to throw away, as they still cost you 50 points. This is not a super small investment. Milan trying to get some kills here. Saperi being pushed back. Artillery trying to hit the CV in the rear here. That would be a nice snipe if that can work out. But it's a BTR, it's not a Iltis or a UATS. It doesn't get killed off that easily, as it has armor and it has 10 hit points. Meanwhile, T62 up in the north, trying to help out. Saperi and Motorstruck Medis running into Milans, getting stunned down actually. And the Saperi RPO doesn't really stand a chance. Has to disengage once more, maybe a bit over ego by Rabidsquirrel. Getting pushed back here. And by now it's Rabidsquirrel who is relatively out of infantry up here. Has a lot of infantry down in the south, but the center is relatively empty now. More infantry on the way. But maybe overestimated his push power there. And maybe has overextended a slight bit. Fallschirmjägers will hit the BMP3s here. The Peri RPO moving forward. Fallschirmjägers over here getting hit as well. BMP3 moving in. Marder Milan trying to disengage. Milan trying to hold the line. Leopard 183 coming around. BMP3 moving forward as well. Rapira up in the north, getting some hits, trying to get the Marder. Leo 2A3 get the kill. Rapira flying onto the Scimitar, but a lot of counterattack coming in now. And let's see if the line of Rabidsquirrel can hold this. I feel like there has been a bit of an overextension happening, and this push here seems to be coming in just at the right moment here. BMP3 gets a Scimitar. Another Scimitar is falling a bit too far in front of the rest of the forces maybe. BMP3 gets the last one as well. So that's some good hits, but the Leopards are still around in the rear. Milan Fuchses also coming in here. Okay, empty supply trucks, not really worthwhile killing off. BMP3 getting hit by some Jägers, gets killed off by the Panzerfaust. BMP3 down in the south, trying to hold the line. Motorstrelki is actually coming on top of the Milan 2 here, which will try to disengage. Gepard's down here in a bit of a pickle as well, and whilst Rabidsquirrel is getting pushed here, at the same time Rabidsquirrel is pushing in the south with infantry of his own. Marder getting some good hits against the Motorstrelki. T62 up in the north, chilling out. Leopard 2A3 could come around for lathans. More and more Leopards and infantry will come in. And a Gina on the hunt. Gina on the hunt for the Mi-24AA. Or no, actually dropping bombs. What did it do? Did it drop bombs? I'm not quite sure what this was actually. T62 Trying to hit the Leo 1A5. Will get the hit. SU-25 coming around. But Eyehawks once more besting them. 2 Eyehawks, really not something you ever want to attack into. 105mm in the rear. Could use a bit more firing once more. So they have shot quite a couple of shells throughout the game. And the Leo 1A1 plus the Heroing's push is coming in. Rabidsquirrel once more with the 1000 point advantage. So lathans needs points soon now to get this into his favor. Won't be easy. As in the north, Zwillings sitting around. Leopard 1A5s sit around. Vulture Maker not doing anything. Maybe this position is pushable, but it won't be easy either. The Rapiras in good spots. CV maybe a bit out in the open. Could maybe get hit by some bombs. But a +2 by now would only bring it back to a draw once more with the 80 points. So would not really be quite enough. Lathans kinda needs to win both sides or needs to get a deep penetration in to get the points that are needed to get the W here. T62 trying to hold out. Leo 1A5 relatively low. Leo 2A3 got repaired. Eyehawk coming in. More Leo 1A5s coming in as well. On the other side, it's Rapiras and tanks. Okay. Interesting. So, Pioneers with Flamethrower engaging the Motorstalky here. Leo 1A5 will kill off the Motorstalky down in the south as well. Smoke popping on the Milan. He has to disengage. The push of Rabidsquirrel down here in the south is dangerous. The CV of lathans is on the corner here of this zone. No more CVs coming in at the moment. Smoke popping in front of this. But are 5 tanks enough to make a push happen here? In the south. Can lathans get this through? Or is Rabidsquirrel once more having the point advantage to win the game? 10 minutes left. Milan hitting the south. Gets shot back by the original Portovicki. Gets the kill on the Usto. And the Saperis can't do anything against the Milan, which is really great for it. Milan should be able to finish the ease off eventually. Especially as they're caught out in the open. Not great for Rabidsquirrel whatsoever. Gepard's trying to help out as well. So these Saperis are dropping like flies right now. Milan trying to come in. And the BMPs not able to come around to help just yet. Now trying it again. As the Milan got a bit too far forward. ADGM is hitting it. So needs to be careful. It's moving forward. Not great. One Gepard goes down as well. Good hits this time for Rabidsquirrel once more. The back and forth in this game is insane. Both players really getting a lot of grinding in here. Really good game. BMP3 once more trying to hit here. Cool game number 1 and game number 2 for sure. I like the mirror match idea in the first one with both sides playing the same game and the same division. But in game number 2 with this West German versus Soviet setup also really shows that outside of the couple of outliers, this game is pretty balanced. A lot of cool unit interactions that we saw here. T62s versus Leo 1s, BMP3s versus infantry versus Milans on Armada Milans. T80BVs trying their best. Leo 2A3s still being strong but not being unbeatable beasts anymore. Rapiras being one thing that the Soviets have as an advantage as their hidden anti-tank guns and so on. So pretty nice show of forces here. Eyehawks being pretty good at locking down Sky units as well. And lathans needs to do something now. Something is needed here. As the countdown is ticking permanently down on lathans' clock here. 914 points for Rabidsquirrel. Another CV coming in. Make sure that lathans is not capturing this easily. Panzer Grenadier under fire in the north. BRM and Rapiras doing a good job there. This is not looking good for Rabidsquirrel, for lathans right now. Lathans needs a good push here. Rabidsquirrel just needs to hold on. And that's going relatively well at the moment. Leo 2A3s though, popping the BMP3. T62 alone most likely won't stand a chance. More Leo 1A1s coming around the flank. And maybe a flanking push that also could eliminate the position in the rear could work out here. That could be helpful. Ooh, nice smoke on the Leo 2A3, not getting hit by the ATGMs over here. T62 now under fire, will fall to the Leo 2A3s. They now could come around to help out up in the north as well. Getting some fire onto the Motostrelkis. Motostrelkis pushing over the open. I feel like that's a bit unnecessary, wasting them away, revealing them. Good smokes by lathans to just keep the combat against the Motostrelkis up for now. SU-25 cluster trying to come around. Will get hit by a lot of AA. Leo 2A3 might get hit there. Gets hit pretty badly actually. Other Leo also relatively low, but the Motostrelkis will go down. Plane went down as well. Only 6 minutes 23 remaining though. Has to be really careful. Needs a supply truck down there. Whilst a lot of Leo 1A1s and co come down in the south though. And that could be dangerous. That could give lathans maybe some behind the line actions that if both of these CVs would be sniped would be absolutely devastating. But even if one gets killed here, could give lathans a lifeline in this game. Though I would say one center and one center point being captured and one rear point neutralized for +5 is kind of where we need to shoot for here now. But that won't be easy. 5 minutes remaining. 5 minutes and 44 seconds. We have a lot of, what is this? Scimitars coming up. Northern push needs to happen as well eventually. Otherwise, Rabidsquirrel will just win this game number 2 like the first one. A lot of Pioneers and Jaegers moving in. Ooh, one Leo 2A3 gets killed off there. Oh no, it was a normal Leo. The 2A3 is still around. But relatively low on hit points. No supply truck just coming up for them just yet. Leo 2A3 coming around though. Motostrelkis get the kill. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Repairing this on this supply truck might have been a valuable idea, as this still has supplies. Leo 2A3 over here also playing with fire. And it looks like Rabidsquirrel might do it again. Leo 2A3 keeps on pushing. T80BV and BMP3s are around though. And the T62 gets the side shot, gets the kill. Now the Leos actually go through the center here. Don't go for the southern push anymore. Meanwhile, Rabidsquirrel actually the one with the southern reinforcements. So, interesting. But really bad, I think, for lathans with the loss. Would need an amazing breakthrough now within the next 4.5 minutes. How can that be achieved? Scimitars coming up. Has a lot of tanks, but there's a good amount of Motostrelki Medis around here. The Rapira in the north at least got killed. Oh no, repositioned? Not sure if this is a new one or if it got killed. BMP3 for sure will go down. Motostrelki Medis and Sapiri getting hit over here. But a lot of forces dying on Lathan's side as well. And it's only 3 minutes 55. Seems like it's a repeat of game number 1. With Lathans not quite able to secure enough spots early on. And then also having a lot of weird traits. It's a bit, yeah, it's a bit more about the traits this time. Not about the incoming advantage. Like that one actually went a bit to Lathans. But the CV points start of Rabidsquirrel paying off here in big dividends, it seems like, as only 3 minutes 20 remain. And at this stage you would need a lot of flags. Like you kind of would need a +7 or even plus, yeah, even more than that maybe, to get up to this 914.1. So Lathan's in trouble. 3 minutes remaining. Baltimore Milan coming in from the rear. 2A3 coming in as well. Artillery trying to fire, but it seems like the defensive play of Rabidsquirrel is good enough here. More Motostrelkis coming in. And we seem to have another Soviet division win. As, yeah, with the buffs, as I said, I think most of the nation balance is pretty well. The only big outliers currently, I would say, are the Bradley Recons and the Dragon 2 infantry units. Bradley Recon being a bit too cheap. And then also ATGM's teams for the Pact maybe being a bit too expensive as well. But when it comes to tanks, I would say the average balance is pretty good. Obviously, still some could move up, some could move down, but in general, the balance there between Pact and NATO is quite nice. With Pact usually bringing in a bit more penetration power and a bit more speed or a bit more armor, rather, a bit more frontal armor in trade for some accuracy on their tanks and some speed. Like, it's actually more NATO having the speed, but the mid tanks of Pact having the range often and having the armor as well in a big advantage. Plus autoloaders for the T-72s and the T-80B and BVs in the mid segment also pretty important. C-62 obviously not quite there, is rather on the really low rate of fire end of the spectrum with 6 rounds per minute. But 1 minute 14 here, and lathans is not gonna change this. Metzwerkwaffe coming in here, will try to get some kills, won't be able to get it finished though. The Medi's loadout being low, I think is fine. If anything, the others should follow there maybe. Like, I think that the you don't want those infantry units to be as oppressive. I would say rather reduce the Dragon 2 loadout to 4 for the smaller teams and 6 for the mech rifles. Mech rifles is a bit bigger squad, so they can carry a bit more, but 8 versus 4 is a bit wrong. But I would rather reduce it on the mech rifle side, so that they can't slaughter, like, 4 enemy vehicles on average, but rather only can, like, hit, like, 3 on average with their 50% accuracy. Yeah, that would be my idea there. And then reduce the availability of mech rifles and other Dragon 2 teams a bit, and maybe give NATO one more option, like mech rifles with AT4s or mech rifles with Dragon 1s as the more numerous options. Yeah. With that said, GGVP here to Rabidsquirrel, taking the 2-0 win over lathans. A really close game number 2. A lot of back and forth pushing. Surprised to not see any actions in the north this time. Like, I felt like at some point lathans should have maybe tried to focus the attention there. But the stalemate in the south was not really a stalemate, was a back and forth. Rabidsquirrel playing it nice with the CVs, getting the advantage, and then letting lathans bleed out. And it worked out. So congrats to Rabidsquirrel taking the 2-0 lead here in this game.